Have you ever felt it? That sudden, inexplicable chill that crawls up your spine on a warm day. The fleeting shadow you swear you saw in the corner of your eye. That whisper of your own name, spoken into the silence of an empty room. For centuries, these are the moments that have haunted our imaginations. We dismiss them as tricks of the light, drafts of air, or an overactive mind. But what if they weren't? What if the veil between our world and the next was less of an iron curtain and more of a beaded one, occasionally letting someone slip through? Let's imagine that world. A world where ghosts are not a question of belief, but a fact of life. What would that mean for us? Well, it could mean one of these four things. What if grief became a conversation, not a conclusion? New industry emerged, the spectral economy. What if history was no longer a mystery, but a live interview? What if ghosts weren't just spooky, but annoying roommates? Let's not just peek through that curtain. Let's step through it and explore one assumption at a time. 1. Grief becomes a conversation. Remember young Cole from The Sixth Sense, delivering that bone-chilling line, in our ghost-filled world, that wouldn't be a terrifying confession. It would be as common as saying, I see people. The finality of death would vanish. That last aching goodbye becomes a see you later. Grief counselling would be replaced by mediumship, a skill as common as plumbing. You could ask your grandfather for his long-lost paella recipe one more time. You could tell your best friend that one last joke you know they would have loved. Saying I love you wouldn't be a memory, but a Tuesday afternoon possibility. Like Malcolm Crowe helping Cole communicate with spirits seeking to resolve their unfinished earthly business, every therapist would become a paranormal mediator. But with this comfort comes a beautiful, terrible catch. Closure would become optional. Would we ever truly move on when a loved one could just pop in to critique our new partner? The pain of loss would be replaced by the eternal bittersweet ache of presence without physical touch. It would be a world with less sorrow, perhaps, but infinitely more longing. 2. The Spectral Economy. Picture the Ghostbusters headquarters, but on every street corner. Get ready for a paranormal gold rush. New jobs would explode into existence overnight. You'd have spectral exterminators for malevolent spirits and ethereal integration specialists to help friendly ghosts coexist. Your smartphone would come with a built-in PKE meter, and ghost-proof construction, using iron-laced paint and consecrated timber, would become the new standard in building. The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man wouldn't just be a one-time apocalyptic threat. He'd be the poster child for supernatural insurance claims. Imagine the Zillow listing. Charming 3-bed, 2-bath, one pre-Victorian poltergeist. Mostly harmless, just hides the TV remote. Insurance policies would have an active ghost clause right next to floods and fires. Tech startups in Silicon Valley wouldn't be building social media apps. They'd be patenting containment fields and translation software for ethereal whispers. The world's economy would be haunted in the most profitable way imaginable. 3. History becomes a live interview. Forget dusty textbooks. History class would become a live, chaotic town hall. We could finally ask Amelia Earhart where she went. We could have Shakespeare himself settle the great authorship debates. Like Ed and Lorraine Warren investigating paranormal cases in The Conjurings, every historian would become a ghostly detective, documenting first-hand accounts from beyond the grave. Courtrooms would be transformed forever, with spectral victims pointing out their own murderers from beyond the grave. Cold cases would become lukewarm conversations. Think of Bathsheba Sherman from The Conjuring. Instead of terrorizing families, she could finally tell her own story. But there's a problem. Ghosts might be terrible witnesses. What if historical figures are just people? Imagine summoning Einstein, hoping for the secrets of the universe, and all he wants to do is complain about his contemporaries. What if ancient Roman soldiers couldn't agree on battle tactics because they all remember it differently? History would be more alive than ever, but it would also be more contradictory, more personal, and infinitely messier. It would be less a record of facts and more a collection of very, very old opinions. 4. Ghosts as annoying roommates. The greatest change wouldn't be the epic or the profound, it would be the mundane. The supernatural would become the supernormal. Think of little Carol Ann in Poltergeist, cheerfully chatting with the TV static. They're here! Except instead of being terrifying, it would be Tuesday morning's entertainment news. Ghosts wouldn't just rattle chains, they'd change the channel. Right before your show's season finale, they wouldn't just moan in the attic, they'd phase through the fridge door and leave it hanging open, draining all the cold air. Like Beetlejuice himself, that obnoxious bioexorcist who turns a sophisticated dinner party into a chaotic calypso performance. Every household spirit would have their own quirky way of driving you absolutely mad. The biggest scare of the day wouldn't be a blood-curdling scream, but hearing a ghostly voice spoil a movie you were about to watch. You'd find ectoplasm on the kitchen counter and have to ask,
"What's that? Holy crap. It's ectoplasm."
We learn to live with them, complain about them, and maybe even grow fond of the cantankerous old spirit who insists on playing spectral sea shanties at 3 a.m. The horror would fade into a strange, shared, and very crowded existence. Picture Danny riding his tricycle through the Shining's Overlook hotel corridors, except instead of encountering terrifying twin ghosts asking him to come play, he'd just roll his eyes and mutter, "Not now, I'm late for school." In the end, a world with ghosts wouldn't just be scarier, it would be louder, more complicated, more connected, and profoundly less lonely. The red doorknobs from The Sixth Sense wouldn't symbolise the crossing between worlds of the living and dead. So the next time you feel that sudden chill, or see that flicker of movement from the corner of your eye, smile. Maybe it's just someone waiting to start a conversation, or complaining about your Netflix choices.